Welcome to Brews and Banter FC. Join us as we brew up the best of the Bundesliga with a side of banter. I'm Red Beer. This is my Komplice, Targo. For those of you, that's German for a partner in crime. Grab your favorite brew as we tackle the burning questions. Who's dominating the Bundesliga so far? What storylines are stealing the spotlight? And of course, who makes it into our prestigious team of the season so far? So far. But that's not all. We've got a new twist with our pint-sized picks. Can we predict the unpredictable in the upcoming matches? Join us for a sip and a laugh as we take on the challenge. Whether you bleed team colors or just love a good laugh, slip into your lederhosen and get ready for a feast of sausage and pretzels. Here's to cheers victories and the sheer beauty of the game. Prost!
Prost! What is up, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, my man. How are you?
Not too bad. What are you drinking for this fun Bundesliga episode?
Well, I now wish that I had a German beer, but I don't. So, I have a Scotch ale from Ronin Co-op Brewery in Montana. It's 4.9%.
Scotch ale sounds right up your alley.
Yeah, it is. I'm very excited. I haven't had it before.
Give it a taste. Give it a taste. Let us know, man.
Ooh, that's smooth. Yeah. Ale up front, Scotch at the back end. Solid 9 out of 10. Yeah.
9 out of 10.
Yeah,
I think that might be one of the highest.
It is.
You've rated so far.
It is really good. I wish I had 2 now.
Well, I have Wander Brewing Abundant Light Solstice Hefeweizen.
Ooh, you did go with the German beer.
I did. I thought I would. Haven't had
Someone
this
was
before,
smart
so we'll
in this
see.
episode, and it wasn't me.
That's a hef. Just kind of the can, kind of just pretty bland.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Okay.
I've had worse. I've had better.
In your ranking of Hefeweizens, where does it stand?
Out of 10, I'd give it a 7.
Okay.
So not terrible, but
you drink it again, but it wouldn't be your first
I would drink
choice.
it again. Yes.
Okay. Nice.
So let's move on to the Bundesliga, man.
Yes. It's been a crazy season, man, in the Bundesliga.
It has. Bayern Munich is not in first place, so that's always crazy when you talk about the Bundesliga, right?
Right.
Let's talk about some of the top storylines in the Bundesliga. We'll start with the team that is in first place, Bayer Leverkusen. So they're on top, undefeated. Did you expect them to be making this title challenge?
Hell no. I don't think anyone did. Man, I thought they would contend for maybe the top 4 after watching them last season, but not the title.
Same, yeah.
And the way their season, last year kind of petered out towards the end. Yeah, I mean, you could have seen them being in the top 4, but being undefeated with only 1 draw out of 11 games, and the way that they're playing too, whew, Xabi Alonso's got them purring.
Yeah, he has. I mean, and so you look at their last game, they beat Union Berlin 4-0. They're also undefeated in the, Europa League?
Yeah.
And so I guess they're amazing right now, man. They've played the toughest opponent I would say they've played have been RB Leipzig and Bayern Munich. They drew that game against Bayern. Had a close victory against RB Leipzig, 3-2. But yeah, man, they're top of the league. Xabi Alonso's looking like a genius at Bayer Leverkusen right now.
Yeah. And I'm surprised I'm not hearing more rumors about Real Madrid circling for him, but we'll get into that later.
Yes, he does have that stipulation in his contract. If either Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, or Liverpool come a calling, he is free to leave this summer. So that's an interesting little clause there that he put in that contract. All of his former clubs he's played for.
Right.
But let's talk about some of their signings, man, that they got this season. So Victor Boniface, or Boniface, I guess I've heard him pronounced.
Yeah.
Depends on if it's in the Europa League or in the Bundesliga. They signed him from Union Saint-Gilloise for $20 million.
Yeah. Dude, I was high on him last season. I'm surprised a bigger team didn't come and get him. But what a signing he has been for Bayer Leverkusen. I mean, he's so good on the ball, very skillful, takes on players with pace, and his finishing is fantastic. I can't say enough about him, really. I mean, he's strong up front, muscles people out of the way. He's the player that, well, they really needed at Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh, they really did. They were kind of calling out for that striker, especially last season. Patrick Schick really wasn't doing it for him. He was out injured quite a bit. But yeah, Boniface. I mean, you and I were talking about possibly Boniface. Guy has a very unfortunate last name. But you and I, we were talking about
we're still
maybe
children. It's fine.
We are, yeah. 35 years old, nah.
Yeah.
Or like 5.
Yeah.
But we were talking about Manchester United possibly going after him. I mean, you and I, we were watching him for USG in the Europa League. And he was tearing it up, man. And he's tearing it up for Bayer Leverkusen. He's got 7 goals and 5 assists, 4 assists, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's been on fire. This Leverkusen team, man, he just adds another element to a team that's already fun to watch. Because I know you and I mean, especially you, were very high on them in the Europa League last season.
I was.
I think you picked them to win the whole thing last season.
I did. I would say they're a little bit unlucky to get knocked out by Roma the way that they did.
I would agree with that, even though I picked Roma. They were very unlucky. But yeah, I mean, like I said, he just adds another facet to a very exciting team already.
And he's so fun to watch, man. I love the way he plays, taking defenders on, always a willing runner. He's had a few injury concerns in the past. He's already done an ACL, but it's good to see him healthy, playing, doing what he does best.
He's only like 22? He's pretty young.
He is 22, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of room to grow too, which is fantastic for that.
That is true. So let's get to I guess I would call their signing of the season over there at Leverkusen. That is Alejandro Grimaldo from Benfica for free.
Yeah, for free. Now, this is a guy who was linked to Manchester City a couple of years ago for like 70 million. Linked with Arsenal, Manchester United, Juventus, pretty much go up and down the board, and they get him for free.
For free. And he came from Benfica. He's had a stint at Barca, I believe.
I think so. I'm not sure.
I believe he did. But the guy is killing it, man. Scoring goals for fun. He's got 6 goals, 4 assists, and 11 matches as a left back.
You're not kidding, right? I mean, their top scorer, and I'm going to call it Boniface because I have been for over a year now. He's got 7. Grimaldo's got 6. That is some tremendous output from a left back. But yeah, I mean, like, just look at where Benfica is right now. They could use a player of his talents.
Oh, 100%, man. Benfica are struggling, especially in the Champions League. They got sitting bottom of their group. I don't even know where we're at in the Portugal league. I know they're not in first. Let me look. I'm curious now. Oh, they are in first. Okay. I lied. Tied on points with Sporting.
Well,
but they could use them in the Champions League. Could use them in the Champions League. That's for sure. And that was an area I would say they struggled last season, Leverkusen. So it's good they got Yes, they brought in a good left back. They also brought in a central midfielder I know both you and I are aware of, and Granit Xhaka.
Yeah,
Got him
man.
from Arsenal for 15 million.
And I'll be honest with you, I mean, Leverkusen probably have the best overall transfer window out of any team in all of Europe, just based on the players they have, that they got, the impact they've had, and the transfer fees for them. I mean, Boniface for 20 million, Granit Xhaka for 15, Grimaldo for free, like that we've talked about so far. I know we'll talk about more of them, but I mean, you get the leadership with Granit Xhaka. You get his ability to spray the ball everywhere. And, I mean, he just literally, this team fit in perfectly, like from day one. I know Xabi Alonso's come out and said he's like, my second in command on the field. But Arsenal clearly miss him. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Kai
Oh, yes, they
Havertz is
do.
not the same player. But I mean, he's so good. I mean, he's top in the world right now for passes played into the final third.
And so that's what
Advanced passes.
I was gonna say. He's that great link between defense to offense, getting those plays started. Because I know last season, Leverkusen, they tried to fit Robert Eindrick in there, and he just doesn't have the passing capabilities that Xhaka had, playing those progressive passes like you mentioned. He's more of a defensive midfielder, whereas Xhaka is very much offensive, but can put in a tackle. Or isn't afraid to put it in a tackle, I guess.
He's a very good box-to-box midfielder, but yeah, as we saw last season, he loves to get in the box. So, yeah, a fantastic signing for them. We know all too well how good he can be and how bad he can be. So, if you don't play him in the right position.
But he does look like he's just slipped right into this Bayer Leverkusen team with looks like he's been there for years, if I'm being honest.
Right. It does. It really does.
So they've also signed Nathan Tella from Southampton for 23 million, which we did see him score a goal here last week out.
Added some much needed depth.
Some depth, yep. But for me, kind of the signing that goes unnoticed, or not the flashy signing, but I think a very important one, is Jonas Hoffman from Borussia Mönchengladbach for 10 million. Yeah. I think this is a super underrated signing, and it's a fantastic one, man. In the 11 matches that they've played, he's got 5 goals, 5 assists, so he's playing very well. And I honestly think him playing in that midfield allows Jeremy Frimpong to really get up that right side. And he's almost, I mean, you've seen him sometimes, man. He's almost playing like as a second striker, Frimpong.
Which is crazy for a right back.
But Hoffman allows him to have that freedom because he can fill in for if they lose possession and just cover that area. And so I think that's a fantastic signing that's really gone unnoticed. Like I said, 5 goals, 5 assists in 11 games.
Yeah, and no one's talking about him, really.
No one is talking about Jonas Hoffman, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's like a Swiss Army knife in midfield. Him and Granit Xhaka, they complement each other very well, and both of them can slip into that defensive role if needed. So, yeah, it does give Frimpong quite a bit of extra flexibility or versatility going forward, which has benefited their offense substantially.
Yes, because if you look at it last year in that right side, you had Moussa Diaby, who would also like to play as that striker almost.
Mm-hmm.
And so Frimpong didn't have that freedom.
Look at where he's being played for Aston Villa. He's being played as a second striker, so
he is right off of Ollie Watkins, yeah. And so let's get to their departure. So they sold Moussa Diaby for 55 million to Aston Villa, which I just mentioned. I think allows now Frimpong to really get in the attack, and he has also been fantastic. Let me look up his stats real quick, Jeremy Frimpong, because I'm curious on that one.
But yeah, I mean, while you're looking that up, I mean, you think of the players that they've signed versus selling Moussa Diaby for 55 million. I mean, they only technically spent about 10 million overall.
Yeah, so Frimpong, I have those stats. He's got 3 goals and 5 assists in 11 games. So he's one of the assist leaders there in the Bundesliga, doing very well.
I mean, we all knew he had the skill, but it was more, how could he utilize the space in front of him? Well, removing Moussa Diaby. It was
the tactics of it, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Xabi Alonso has him playing what seems to be a mixture of, Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool and Pep Guardiola's Manchester City with, more of a gegenpress tiki-taka hybrid where they pass the ball, pinging it all over the place, but as soon as they lose it, they are on top of you immediately.
They are a high-pressing team, yes.
It is so fun to watch.
I mean, and this started when Alonso was appointed just over a year ago. I think it was October of 2022, November sometime, when he was appointed at Leverkusen. Leverkusen, they were sitting, what was it, 17th, 16th, 8th, something like that.
In the relegation zone, yeah.
They were in the relegation zone. If you look at where they finished, where they finished last season, they finished in 6th place in that Europa League spot, but to jump basically 10 spots is fantastic and just shows his coaching acumen, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I mean, he's a tactical genius at this point. I mean, I know he's only a year into actually coaching, but holy cow, does he look good. And I mean, it is a big boost to have, Florian Wirtz finally healthy again halfway through the season.
Yeah, he came in just after the World Cup. He didn't go with a German national team, so having an ACL tear. So yes, you could definitely see the gears really start to click for Leverkusen once Florian Wirtz came back, and you're seeing it this season with the contributions that Florian Wirtz is doing.
Yeah, I mean, that goal he scored, was that last week or the week before, where he turns his defender around like 4 or 5 times and then slots it in the far post? As one of the coolest, sweetest goals I've seen in a long time, especially for a player literally doing it by himself.
He's definitely the creative force in that team. I mean, he's got 5 assists, 3 goals, and 11 matches in the Bundesliga. But then in the Europa League, so they played 4 matches in the Europa League. He's got 2 goals and 4 assists in the Europa League as well.
That's insane.
So 6 goal contributions in the 4 games they've played in the Europa League. And I guess it is worth mentioning their Europa League group is not the most difficult, and you would expect them to top it. But he's still putting in the work.
Oh yeah.
So anything else to say about Bayer Leverkusen? I mean, they're playing fantastic, man. They're first in the Bundesliga. 1 draw is all.
1 draw, and they've won the rest of their matches. And for me, I mean, I can't run out of superlatives to say for Bayer Leverkusen. I mean, they were top of my power rankings, for God's sake. But
they were. Yeah, you have them. They could beat Man City right now, according to you.
I mean, well, we won't see until next year, probably, if at all. But I think it's possible they could. They're just that exciting to watch. Would they actually do that? Let's be honest, probably not. But they are the most exciting team to watch right now. And they're young. Like, their whole core, besides Granit Xhaka and Jonas Hoffman, is, somewhere between 19 and
early
23.
20s,
yeah.
So having said that, obviously Leverkusen, and not just Leverkusen, but a majority of these Bundesliga teams are almost, I don't want to say feeder clubs, but they kind of are, if we're being honest. And so I don't... Yeah, well, not only for Bayern Munich, but honestly for the rest of the big teams in Europe, in the Premier League, in Spain, wherever. And so I think it will be difficult for them to repeat this success next season, because I think they might lose Frimpong. They could lose Florian Wirtz. Things like that.
Well, they could also lose Xabi Alonso, who is...
That's where I was alluding to, especially if they lose Xabi Alonso.
Yeah, because, I mean, there is one club is in his contract that will not have a head coach come next summer.
Potentially, yeah. It's not all done and dusted yet for Carlo Ancelotti going to Brazil, but if he does, Xabi Alonso would definitely be a top candidate there at Real Madrid.
I would say if I was Real Madrid, he'd be my number one choice with the way he's playing.
Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And of course, you can get the Brews and Banter merch at Redbubble. It helps the channel out a lot. We appreciate it. On that note, man.
Prost!
Prost!